U.S. politician Bernie Sanders has entered the 2020 White House race. It is the independent senator's second attempt. He lost the Democratic Party's 2016 nomination to Hillary Clinton, who went on to be defeated by Donald Trump. The 77-year-old will campaign on many of the same promises as last time, including universal health care, a higher minimum wage, and free public college tuition.
I'm Bernie Sanders. I'm running for president, and I'm asking you today to be part of an unprecedented grassroots campaign of 1 million active volunteers in every state in our country. Our campaign is not only about defeating Donald Trump, the most dangerous president in modern American history. It is not only about winning the Democratic nomination and the general election. Our campaign is about transforming our country and creating a government based on the principles of economic, social, racial, and environmental justice.
Well, 12 candidates have now thrown their hats in the ring to challenge Donald Trump. They include Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, and California Senator Kamala Harris. They share a similar leftist agenda with Bernie Sanders, but pushing a more centrist line is Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar. She's described proposals like universal health care as aspirational. Other likely contenders include former Vice President Joe Biden and Beto O'Rourke, a former congressman who narrowly lost the Texas Senate race last year. Well, Shiha Pratansi has the latest now from Washington, D.C.
One of the reasons why there are so many potential Democratic presidential nominees is because many of them wanted to announce before Bernie Sanders got into the race. They wanted to get some momentum because Bernie Sanders is the front runner of the declared candidates. He has the best nationwide organization. He has the most on the biggest small donor base. He has the best name recognition. The only other candidate who does better than him is Joe Biden, the former vice president under Barack Obama, who has not yet declared whether he will be running. And if he does, though, we will see a very similar, perhaps very bitter campaign season between that centrist, establishment, right-wing section of the Democratic Party and the Bernie Sanders wing, the younger wing of the Democratic Party, who say more fundamental changes needed than the Democrats have offered up to now.
Well, let's get more on this now. We're joined by Christine Pelosi, a member of the Democratic National Committee, and she's joining us live from San Francisco. Very good to have you with us on Al Jazeera. So it is, of course, Sanders' second run, and since 2016, policies that he's long championed have gained a lot of traction within the party, including from some of his fellow 2020 bidders. Is it a more favorable landscape for Sanders this time around, do you think?
Well, I think it's very exciting that Bernie Sanders is running again. He has millions of voters who supported him last time, who are certainly seeing him as the front runner. I also think it's really important to clarify that it's not so much a matter of a contrast between the left part of the party and the right part of the party. It's a matter of how deep and authentic your policy beliefs are. As one who authored, for example, the Fight for 15 resolution at the Democratic National Committee 4 years ago and has been fighting for a lot of progressive change on campaign finance reform since I was voting onto the committee as a young Democrat, I can tell you Bernie Sanders was a very welcome voice for reform, but he's not the only voice, and it will be a challenge, I think, for all of the candidates to meet the voters where we are. We want an economy that works for all of us, but also for each of us.
Well, if he's not the only candidate, does he sort of lose his uniqueness, do you think, in this crowded field with a lot of them espousing a lot of the same ideas of reform?
Well, let's say this. Bernie Sanders is the front runner. He has an organization. He has candidates he's helped elect to public office and party office in the last couple of years. He also wants to be careful that he's not a victim of his own success. One of the successes is that people start to realize that there is a winning message in having universal health care, college tuition, and rising wages. The downside of that success, as you mentioned, is that there are other candidates who can come in and be a fresh face, adopt his ideas, and perhaps beat him, because this time around, he is the establishment. His ideas are still challenging, but logistically speaking, right now, he's the front runner, he's the establishment, which means that he's the one everybody's out there trying to beat.
Well,
so it'll be a very exciting campaign, and as long as people stick to the issues and joy, I think it'll be a fun campaign.
Will the Democratic Party look on him more favorably if he is more of an establishment candidate than he was last time? How much will they support Sanders this time?
Well, as I said, right now, we'll see how the campaign goes. Right now, he's the front runner. We also changed the rules at the Democratic National Committee to say that if you run for the Democratic Party nomination, you have to register as a Democrat. Bernie Sanders has indicated that he's going to do that. I think that that will allay a number of fears. And so your audience is clear. We also passed that so that billionaire candidates, such as the former CEO of Starbucks, who want to run as a Democrat, would also need to register in our party. So whether you are a sitting elected official or a business person coming from outside the party structure, we want to make sure that we are nominating a member of our own party to be our standard bearer to go against Donald Trump. And remember, that's still the biggest question. Who can beat Donald Trump, not only on the economy, but in the role of commander-in-chief?
And how are they going to do it? You know, in just one address on Vermont Public Radio on Tuesday morning when he was announcing his that he's going to run, Sanders called the president, he called him an embarrassment to the country, a pathological liar, a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, a xenophobe. Does this give us an idea of the approach, of a confrontational approach that he'll take?
Well, one area where I think that Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump appeal to some of the same people was on the issue of trade. The big fight over what was then TPP, trade deal, that a lot of people felt perhaps left out in the new economy. If you look where Trump won his nomination, it was places where the wages had stagnated between 2004 and 2014. It was places where jobs were lost to globalization and automation. And it was something they called white distress in the workforce. That is to say, a lower participation of white males in the workforce and distress about it. In some cases, out-and-out racism. And that's where the Sanders and Trump voters diverged. So I think that in addition to attacking Trump, Bernie Sanders and everyone else has to talk about our personal economy. And in a changing global economy, in the changing nature of work, in communities where there are gigs but not jobs, in communities that need to have jobs so that people don't grow up and move away but actually stay home in the community, that's going to be the major focus of the Democratic campaign. Let's stipulate to the negatives against Trump, or they wouldn't be running. But then let's talk about what are you going to do for me in my life? And I hope that that is where the majority of the contrast is going to be drawn.
Ms. Pelosi, thank you very much for your time on this. We do appreciate it. That is Christine Pelosi live in San Francisco. Thank you.
My pleasure.